Welcome to the Author's Corner with A.C. Campbell. Join us as we take a tour around the literary industry with interviews and features within and throughout the industry. And now, the show. Welcome to an all-new Author's Corner with A.C. Campbell. As always, I'm your host, A.C. Campbell. Thank you guys for being patient with me last week when my last show wouldn't tape. I'm believing or suspecting that YouTube didn't really like the file because, I had the same authors as last week's show except for they were part twos, but for some reason YouTube didn't like the files, but that's okay. We're moving on, and you're going to catch the full show on my social media, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere else. Now, today we got an all-new awesome show with Patricia Cameron and Kenni York. Both are stellar authors. We talk about characterization, we talk about poetry, we talk about spoken word, we talk about a whole bunch of things. But also, both women also have powerful testimonies to share. So we're going to continue our Walking Testimony series, especially as we rounded out Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as well as other series. We talked about other serious issues throughout the month. So, when we come back, we're going to start the ball rolling with Patricia Cameron.
Just who is author H.D. Campbell? He's the multi-gene author who can take you on several trips at once. With H.D. Campbell, you can have a romance, you can track a killer, or even stop an international incident. For 30 years and still writing, H.D. Campbell will take you on trips you've never been before. Learn more about him by logging on to hdcampbell3.com or check him out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Read his rewrites of How to Lose a Black Woman and Late Murder at 10 with a new title coming soon. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. You know, even after 20 years, readers are still captivated with How to Lose a Black Woman. Now, in its second printing, follow the story of Bruce Williams. Shall I say, mild-mannered school teacher in search of love? Using social media, prayer, and a lot of trial and error, Bruce fights to learn what a true relationship is all about. Filled with original poetry by H.D. Campbell, it's a lesson from one young man's point of view. Buy How to Lose a Black Woman on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, in your favorite bookstore, and even on his website at www.hdcampbell3.com. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Patricia Cameron, what can I say? She's a proud Jamaican. She's a great writer. She goes out, she has a nonprofit. She loves teaching. She loves talking about she just loves talking. She loves speaking. She's a wonderful person. I love her personality. I love her drive. And without further ado,
hi, I'm Patricia Cameron. I have my first book out on Amazon. It came live in May. It's called Stepping Out, Poems and Thoughts from Yard. So that's a compilation of poems that I did from high school. So why I entitled it Stepping Out, I had them put down for a while because of challenges and circumstances. I just had them there. Then I said, it's time I step out and do me and let the world see what I have to offer. So that's basically what the book is about.
All right. Everybody who writes has a beginning. Tell me, what got you into writing poetry?
Wow, I used to do poetry literature at school, and I was just fascinated by the use of words. I fell in love with words from then. I write short stories as well and novels, but poetry has been my first love.
Awesome. What is your poetry theme?
Different themes that anyone can relate to. I have some that has to do with patriotism, all about Jamaica, because I'm a pro-Jamaican, will always be. poetry about moms, dads, poetry for motivation, like be bold, be courageous. Different themes so different persons can relate.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now you got the project stepping out and everything's good. So how has the book been received by your readers?
Well, so far we only have it in ebook form, and it has gotten a warm reception. Because on my part, I haven't been doing much promoting because I have other projects. But I would say it has gotten five-star reviews so far. So I give thanks for that. The reviews have been positive. So if I push more, I know I'll get more supporters and new readers on board.
Oh, you get more. You get more later. So you're gonna be all right. Don't worry about that. For the book is
Thank
gonna.
you.
So you said you have other projects. What are some of your other projects?
Well, I'm also running a charity, which I started in January. Yes, it's called Green Flag Charity Program. So I started that because I'm naturally empathetic, but I can do so much because I used to give what I can. But the need is so great, I decided to start a charity and get donors to come on board and give what they can to support this worthy cause.
Awesome, awesome. All right. You shared a story with us earlier, a story of healing. Is that part of your book?
The one that you read today,
Yes.
to an extent, yes, there are poems about that, but there's no direct poem about what my experience was. That would be a more mature poetry book that I have coming out subsequently.
Okay. The reason I bring it up because it's a story. That's a story of healing, and you just have a lot that you heal from.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, can you let? I mean, if you don't mind, can we hear your story?
Oh Lord. Well, let me say I have come a long way because to go back there was very painful, traumatic, but I can speak about it now. All of this happened in 2007 when I returned from Grenada. My sister was a journalist, so she was living there. So when I returned from one of my trips, it didn't reach a week after some robbers in mass broke down my door and entered my home, held me up, demanding money, start roughing me up. I started to I was in my sleep. It was early, I don't forget, it was Easter Monday morning, 8th of April. And they pulled me out of the bed out of my sleep. My sons and my mom was in the next room. And I fight for my life until we reached out on the balcony. Didn't know that I was so close to the edge though. So while he's having me up and the other one is ransacking the house, I felt myself falling. So I turned out trying to, land like a cat. Didn't work so well in my favor. So we were living right beside the river. There's a river that was right beside the house. Some hard stones. Maybe you won't be familiar, but some hard stones. My ankle landed on one of those rocks. I turned, trying to land like a cat, and my ankle landed on the rock. So it split, it literally split in two. Not aware of that until I tried to run, get up, and I fell back down and realized that my ankle was turning in the other direction. So now my mom she woke up. My older son was 7. He woke up and she made an alarm, and with the help of, I'm so happy and grateful. God is good. They ran away. So that's the beginning of my trauma right there. I was in shock, of course. So I went to the hospital, did some tests, had to do immediate surgery, had to put iron plates in my ankle, all of that. And I just zoned out. I was very traumatized. So I was diagnosed a few days after with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety. Later on now, with everything that's happening, I was diagnosed with depression. Yeah. So I came off the radar for a while after that. Yeah.
And so you overcame all of that, and now you're here with
Yes.
I call people like that walking testimony because you're here, you survived great trauma. Did anything happen to the robbers eventually?
I was told they killed a guy and they assumed it was him, but they had unmasked, so I couldn't identify them. I don't know who they were.
Oh, I get you.
Yes.
Um,
Uh-huh.
but see, now you have this book. Now you have things going on, and you can say, "All right, whatever. I survived it. I am here."
Yes, I am here. I'm a late bloomer, but I'm here.
Oh no, no, there's no such thing as late bloomers. God just comes in His own time. So you are good.
Um,
So,
right time.
oh yeah. So this being your first book, um, what do you have any more books coming up? Anything more in the works?
Oh yes. I have a hint. Not gonna give away too much, but it's gonna be about my little daughter, my little princess. But it's for every little girl, but it's really about her. But every little girl of her complexion can relate.
See, that's beautiful.
Yes.
You surviving stuff. You sit up here saying, look, I want to be the best me, who makes my daughters the best me, make sure everybody's good. See, I'm loving that. So,
Aim
well,
is to motivate and inspire.
yeah, I love that. I love that. So, let me go back for a minute. Is that what you hope to do with the current book that you have out now?
Pardon?
Do you hope to inspire with the current book that you have out now?
Oh yes. A lot of points are there about that, especially the one about be bold. Just do it. It's basically telling you to just go out there and do it. I can read it for you if you don't mind.
Oh, actually,
It's called Be Bold.
if you want to read it, go ahead.
Okay. All right. And I wrote this as a teenager as well. Most of the poems in there are from for a younger me.
Oh,
So it's
you're
called Be Bold. All right. Be bold. It says crouching, shrinking, becoming small, not caring to be seen, no sound at all. Only whispers escape, lips filled with doubt, trying to figure out what you're all about. No one understands. No one cares. Because of your size, your words disappear. Big intentions, big dreams, small mind, low self esteem. Who will listen? Who will hear when you are so filled with fear? Be bold and say, I can and I will, because you won't get noticed if you just sit still. That's it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Actually, what I really want you to do is, I actually want you to give me a copy of that. I'll put it up on the show as well.
For right now, yeah, I can. For right now, the book itself is an ebook. It's just an ebook. I have the cover and everything that I used to promote on social media. So I have the cover, I have the link. All of that is available to you whenever you need it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now,
Yeah.
do you have anything? I know we're in the middle of COVID. Do you have any events going on or anything that you're doing to promote anything that you have going on in the future to promote the book?
Well, when the hard copy comes out, I want to do a book launch at the library, our local library here. I already got the go ahead to do it.
Oh,
Yes. That's what we have right now.
all right. So it's coming soon, y'all. We got to get ready. So,
Yes.
what are some so being a writer? What are some of your challenges to being a writer?
What are some of my talents being a writer?
Yeah.
Okay, well, basically writing comes natural. So what I do, I post a lot. I have this thing on Facebook that's called Express Me. Because all right, let me backtrack. You see this part that already it's a person with low self-esteem. So at my Express Me post, what I do, I motivate others. I always have a motivational thought or word or something a whole epilogue because I love to write for persons to read. So I use my talents to inspire others with my posts. I also write skits and I do skits. I do little skits on social media. Oh yes, I love acting as well. Trying nothing. And I use accents, but I love to write my own stuff, of course, and act them out and so forth. So basically anything to do with writing, that's me across the board.
You're like so many of us. When we start writing, we'll do little skits, we'll do poetry. I love that. And with social
Yes.
media, it's easy and fun to get it out there even further. So, are you having a good time right now as far as your book and everything is concerned?
Oh yes, I'm doing that's my passion. That's my passion. I've recently started spoken word where I do it on voice. Done it like visually yet. I do it on voice notes and I send you WhatsApp and so to persons and they say, no man, we need to see you. So I'm gonna do spoken word. I'm getting out of my shell more. Hence the name of the book, stepping out of my comfort zone.
Awesome, I love that. So I guess what a lot of your readers want to know now is, and I know it's annoying to ask, but when is the next book? They got
Oh,
to know this. They want to know when.
it will be soon, soon enough. Hopefully by Christmas, but I'm not gonna promise. I'm not gonna promise for that season, but I'm looking at that. Yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the more you write and the more you put out books, the more your readers will ask, when's the next? When the next? When the next? I'm just getting you ready for it. I'm just letting you know.
Yes, yes, I'm trying my best because with the charity and with my job, I'm a teacher slash caregiver at a school here, a primary school here. So it's very packed. I have a 4-year-old. I'm a mother of three. My youngest is 4, so it's jam packed. But I enjoy all that I'm doing. I enjoy the charity. I enjoy my job. I definitely enjoy the writing. So I won't keep my readers, my fans, my supporters. I won't keep them hanging too long.
Awesome, awesome. So when do you sleep?
Good question. Good question, because I'm up late sometimes getting ideas. When my daughter's asleep, my mind is just working. But I do get some sleep. I do. I know it's important to get the brain ticking. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. I want to go back, get a little serious for a second. Like I said earlier, your walking testimony. Do you take your story and help others with? Do you help others using your story?
Yes, especially we have a big issue here. It's very sensitive. I don't know it is in your country, but mental illness. I have a disorder. I don't necessarily have an illness, but it's in the same under the same umbrella. Persons tend to sweep it under the carpet. That's why I post my stories very frequently, so persons know that they are not alone. Don't be ashamed if you have anxiety, any mental disorders or illnesses. Don't be ashamed. Reach out, and I'm also encouraging others to reach out to them as well. Sometimes just a simple hug, a simple kind word can change someone's life. We've been having some suicides a few months ago. I know that maybe those persons needed, someone to reach out to them. It's very important that we make these persons relevant again in society. Don't sweep it under the carpet. Don't label them and put them in a box because of their mental state. I see it as just an illness like any other illness. So persons need to stop stereotyping, discriminating, and reach out to persons with mental problems, mental disorders, because it can make a big difference. And my mantra is to be the change. Yes,
I love that reading change. That is beautiful. I do
yes,
love it, definitely. So
yes.
with all this that you're doing, you're being such an inspiration. I mean, and you don't get a lot of sleep. What do you do when you're not being a superhero saving the world?
Oh God. Oh God. I don't know about that, but I love to watch a good horror movie.
I do too. I love
And I love music, of course, and reading, but I love movies, horror, suspense, anything to keep me on the edge. Yeah.
awesome, awesome.
Sometimes I like a calming drama, true life story, because I like to watch stories where they struggle at first and then they triumph. That's my kind of thing as well. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So now I know I'm putting a lot on your plate, but you have to come with another book at some point soon. Now don't promise, but at least by next year we got to see another book.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, because I'm working on it as we speak. It's in the works. It's not just word of mouth. I'm actually working on it. So
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh God, I would love to be a bestseller. My ultimate goal is to be a bestseller, established author. Yeah, have books out there, and persons say, "Here, Patricia Cameron," they know who it is.
And see, you
And
get,
of course, change more lives to my charity and just be a positive role model, especially to the younger generation.
well, see, the cool part is you have the attitude, you have the drive. As long as you have those two, and you got God on your side, you're gonna be all right.
Oh
No
yeah,
doubt.
thank you.
There's no doubt for that. So my next question is, where can we buy your book again? How can we get to know you? How can we learn more about you?
All right, no problem. My book is available on Amazon. The link is always on my page. I'm always sharing it in book clubs, book groups, but it's on Facebook, always on my page, Patricia Cameron, or on Instagram, Jacqueline Cameron, that's my middle name, Jacqueline Cameron 876. You can find me on any one of those platforms. Anything about me, I'm always there. I'm very repetitive. I always post so new persons come on, they can know who I am, what I'm about. So just come on Facebook, Patricia Cameron, or Instagram, Jacqueline Cameron at Jacqueline Cameron 876.
Awesome, awesome. Because a lot of readers love interacting with authors. It's so awesome. So, and it looks like you do a lot of interacting with writers. I mean, with your readers as well, which is really cool. So, my next question for you is, um, so you don't have a website?
No, not as yet. And you can look out for an author page soon.
Awesome,
Did
awesome.
not get the time to do it, but an author page is coming up soon. Yes, both on Amazon and on Facebook. So definitely website will be in the making soon as well. As I said, I'm finding time now for my writing. I was a bit preoccupied with the charity and my work, but now my passion needs some attention. So
And see, look
yeah.
at me. I'm sitting up here putting more work on you. Telling me you got to get the next book out there. Look at me. You already got a full plate. Look at me. See,
You're
so,
all revved up, right?
so, so here's the part of the show where I always give my authors the final words. You can say, give shout outs, you can give advice, something inspiring, whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, for shout outs, don't love to call names, don't want to miss anyone out, don't want to get in trouble. So big up, as we say in Jamaica, big up all my supporters, all my donors, all my friends and family who has my back. Big up yourself, love you, one love every time. And to all who have a dream and an inspiration and want to do something and you feel like you're being held back, don't let your circumstances define you. Don't let it hold you back. Don't let anyone hold you back. Don't let anything hold you back. Just do it. The time is now.
Coming soon, the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, reintroducing you to a special agent, Sergeant Wise Guy, the government's top strategics and agent with a very sarcastic tongue. A former ranger, he heads up a team of specialists taking care of missions too big or too messy or other agents don't want to handle. His first mission takes him to Paris, where a stolen Cold War nuclear warhead was discovered. While discovering the warhead's origin, a lost dead love resurfaces. Can Sergeant Wise Guy resolve both before the secret plans for the warhead is complete? Well, check out the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, coming soon. By Late Murder at 10 by H.D. Campbell. Former investigative reporter Mark Alexander thought his life hit a slump when a mass shooting results in the murder of a controversial news anchor. Can Mark get out of his head long enough to crack this case? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to get your own copy of Late Murder at 10 on Amazon.com and coming soon to your favorite bookstore.
Our next interview is with author Kenni York. She has about 30 children, including her own. Actually, a few of you count her real children, but she has about 30 some odd books out there. I mean, actually, a few of them are about to be reviewed by yours truly. You know, especially that Karma series. I started that Karma series, and you get my review later. But then she also talks about a serious issue, a serious child trauma, which she's working to help other people heal from with her nonprofit. So here's the interview.
Honestly, it's been with me since I was in elementary. It's been that girl walking around with a notebook, writing down whatever from poetry to song lyrics to short stories that we would like pass around school as entertainment. So I've always been an entertainer when it comes to the written word. And it wasn't until I was like an adult, like college, getting ready to graduate from college, that I realized, hey, I can really do something with this writing thing. Like I can make my talent work for me. So that's how I got started.
Awesome. So, how did we get to your first title?
My first title,
I'm sorry.
my first book is called Ask No Questions. And it started out as an assignment that I wrote for a class I was taking. I was taking creative writing in college. That was my minor. And I did an assignment. But when my instructor gave it back to me, he said it read to him like the beginning of a novel. So that was maybe my third year of college, maybe. And so I went on, graduated, went on to work. I was working in the, I think I was in the law field at that time. And then I went on maternity leave, and I remembered that manuscript, and I remembered what that professor said to me. So I hit him up and said, hey, tell me what to do. I want to make it work. So he worked with me chapter by chapter. I would write a chapter, I'd send it to him. He'd give me some critiques. He'd send it back to me until the book was done. Shopped it around. Somebody picked it up. Some small publishing company picked it up, and it's been uphill ever since.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So how many books do you have out today?
I stopped counting after 30. So I want to say that we're maybe at 30, between 32 and 34, probably 34. Yeah.
So outside of, I don't know whether you have physical kids or not, but I know you have 30 kids. So so basically, how does that feel to have, to have so many books and people are reading them? And because see, for me, I know it's a big high for me every time. How is it for you?
I don't know, man. It's a humbling experience. It is. And then there are some days where I'm just so used to it because this is my life. I am a bookworm. So this is who I am and this is what I do. But then there are some moments that are like ultra surreal, like walking into Walmart and seeing myself on a shelf. And I'm like, wait, that's my name. And standing there and telling people who are walking by, yo, this is me. Or being at a book signing and people walk up and they came just to see me or get my book or get my autograph. And I'm like, whoa. And then my kids, they don't know no better. So when they were younger, they're like, oh, mommy's famous, mommy's a celebrity. But now, they're a little older, I have teenagers now, and they're like, oh, mommy's like a C-list celebrity.
Oh my God. Oh, that downgraded. No.
Yes, I'm not, dang, what are those? I'm not Cardi B. I'm not a Betty Wap or whomever. I'm just, no, that's all they know.
But you can hang with them though. They don't realize you can hang with them. We're authors. We can hang with those guys.
That's right. Listen, let me write your next song. I'm so serious.
So now you have so much success. So over the years, how have your fans been? Well, not I'm stop calling them fans. I'm always getting the type of call them fans. Your readers. How are your readers loving
Um, I have some readers who've been like diehard, like day ones. I met a reader of mine who's been a reader of mine for years. I met her for the first time earlier this year, and she came all the way to Atlanta to a signing that was here just, to see me. And I was like so super humbled. But it's those people, those dedicated readers who are always looking for the next book to drop, always supporting wherever comes out, that makes it worthwhile. And I love meeting new readers, people, that may be passing by when I am doing a book signing. They've never heard of me. I love the opportunity to grab new readers. I love it when people enter my inbox and I have no idea who they are. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I found you on Facebook. And I'm like, oh my God, who are you? And they're just wanting to tell me that they read this book or that book, and oh my God, I loved it. And when's the next book coming out? I'm in real life, I'm very you're not gonna believe it, but I'm a private person. No one believes that. I'm a private person in real life.
Yeah, we can say because we are like that. We may seem like we have our lives out there, but we really don't.
Right. Right. So, but I try to be like open, like when the readers pop into the inbox, I'm gonna talk to you and I'm going to hear you out and have a real conversation and be personable. If you took the time to support me and read my works and find me on social media, then the least I can do, the very, very least I can do is have a conversation with you. That's what it's about, building those relationships to build that reader base.
I love that. I love that. So my next question for you is, so actually, give me some of actually, what is your main genre that you write?
I don't know that I peg myself in one genre, but I probably have a lot of like women's fiction, and urban fiction more than anything else.
Awesome. And give me a few of your notable titles.
Some of my notable titles would be
I know I'm asking you to pick between your children. I know, and it's kind of hard to pick your favorite, but yeah, what are a few that you're partial to?
so Noah's Right, which is very near and dear to my heart because it plays into my advocacy for sexual assault awareness. So Noah's Right, The Girls, which is a series, and I'm partial to The Girls because I am one of the characters. The storyline is based off of real things that happen to me and people that I know. And kind of hard. Karma, that's the series, the Karma series. And I just released part 5, which was like 7 years in the making. People have been like 9 years in the making. People have been harassing me for part 5 of that. So Karma is one of my best selling series. So that's a fan favorite. I don't know if I necessarily say one of my favorites. I love them all, but it is definitely a fan favorite.
Right. With your book collections and everything, what do you expect? Are you working on anything currently right now?
Well, I just released a book like last week. So right now I'm kind of on pause. I am preparing to work on a new project that I don't necessarily want to speak on right now. I hate to talk about things before they actually come to fruition. But I am about to go back into the writing lab soon, very soon. But yeah, so like I was saying, I recently released part 5 of my Karma series, and that was a big deal to me. So
Okay. Well, get back to writing here in a minute, but I want to switch gears for a second. Talk about something a little bit more serious. Um, you survived something very serious that I really want you to talk about, and you can inspire others with it. But I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and let you Tell your story.
So, people who follow me, readers that follow me, know already that I have a nonprofit organization. It's called the Let Your Voice Be Heard Foundation. And the reason the foundation exists is because I am a survivor of sexual assault, specifically child sexual abuse. And the Let Your Voice Be Heard Foundation works with survivors and their families of sexual assault. So for me, my sexual assault testimony happens or took place when I was a young person. I was going to say a child, but I was a teenager, and I was sexually assaulted by my dad. And from that, it took a lot for me to get to a place where I could trust people, because you're taught to trust at first via that first relationship that you have with other humans, which are your parents. And when it is your parents that's hurting you, that's abusing you, then it's hard to trust anyone when you cannot trust them. And abuse or assault of any kind is not anything that you can just readily get over. It happened to me when I was a child, but it lingered, it stayed with me throughout adolescence, my teenage years, my early adult life, and even now, even though I'm speaking about it publicly and have been speaking about it publicly since 2013, it still bothers me. And the way the universe works is I never can forget it. Even if I didn't have the nonprofit organization, even if I wasn't an advocate for sexual assault, I just could never forget it, because there could be any small thing or big thing that can trigger those feelings, the memories of being in that place, anything, and it can be re-traumatizing. And it just so happens that I do have the organization and I do work with other survivors. So listening to their stories and working with them through their stories can sometimes be triggering for me, but don't get it twisted. It can be triggering for me at times, but it's also therapeutic for me, because when it was happening to me, I didn't have somebody that was advocating for me. I didn't have somebody that was talking me through it or lifting me up and being encouraging. I didn't have any of that. When I was going through it, so many people didn't even know at the time that it was happening. And there was even one instance when I tried to commit suicide because I felt so alone and lost, and I'm stuck in this home where I'm being abused at night and then sent to go to school during the day. Like nothing happened. And I lived in a small community where everybody knew everybody. So everybody knew my dad. And we live in this like society where children's voices are not as valued, if you will, as adults. As kids, we're taught to speak when spoken to and stay in a child's place and not tell family business. So I couldn't just go out and say, hey, this is happening to me, or I didn't feel comfortable or safe and secure enough to say, hey, this is happening to me, and have the belief that whoever it is in my community that I'm telling this to will help me, will save me. So I kept it, I held it inside. In one instance where I tried to commit suicide because I didn't see any other way to get out of it. But I did. Thank God for angels that, just come out of nowhere, because that's what happened. Like an angel came out of nowhere. I didn't know this person from Adam, but my sister had told this person what was happening to us in the home. And that person took it upon herself to say, no more. And she spoke up for us. And it gave us the strength to raise our voices and tell our truth so that we could get out of that situation. Were it not for that person, I don't know what would have happened to me. I don't know where I would be now. So I'm grateful to her for what she did, because she didn't have to do it. And so now with my organization, my nonprofit, that's what I try to do. Be the voice for those who feel otherwise voiceless, and advocate for those who need it, who don't know how to do it for themselves. So many, I know it happens to males too, but so many women, so many young girls are experiencing exactly what I experienced, being abused at home and then sent out the next day to go to school like nothing happened. And your home is supposed to be your safe haven, right? When you think about somebody being sexually assaulted, automatically you think about strangers. You think about a random chance occurrence on the street somewhere, or you were out at a club and somebody accosted you. Very rarely do we think, oh, well, that can be happening right in your home where you should have solace right there in your very space where you lay your head at night by the very people who are supposed to take care of you and love you. It's sad. And with October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, often sexual abuse in the home gets overlooked. And even though maybe no one is hitting me or whatever, there are different things that comprise domestic violence, different things that make up what domestic violence looks like. And I know many of domestic violence awareness advocates who I've interviewed and who I've honored for having the courage to speak up for the first time about their sexual assaults that happened in conjunction with the domestic violence, the physical violence that they were experiencing. So those things go hand in hand, and oftentimes we overlook that. And I don't know, most people don't know this, that April is actually National Sexual Assault Awareness Month. There's very little coverage that's given to that particular advocacy during April, not the way you see DV being mentioned during October. But again, those things go hand in hand, and we should give the same concerted effort in standing up or speaking up against sexual assault the same way we do when it comes to domestic violence. The statistics are ridiculous when it comes to sexual assault, and nobody is untouchable or invincible when it comes to sexual abuse. It can happen to anyone at any time, at any place, any race, any creed, any color, any religion. Gender-based violence is real. So things aren't just happening over here in the States. They're happening in other countries on a scale much like wilder than we can even fathom here in America. Some of the things that young girls go through in other countries, being mutilated, like it's just crazy. All of that is just violence against women, and it's heartbreaking, really, when you think about it. But all of those things are connected. All of those things go hand in hand with sexual abuse, sexual assault. So just some things to think about.
Well, first, I want to say I'm sorry. I've got a couple questions. First, what happened to your dad, if you don't mind me asking?
So my dad did get tried and convicted for what he did to me and what he did to my sister. He spent, I believe it was 14 years in jail consecutively for what he did to me and my sister. He is out now. That was a long while ago. I'm an old lady now, so that was a long time ago. And he is out. He is a registered sex offender. And he and I, we do not have a relationship.
Awesome, awesome. And also, what do you tell critics? Well, not critics. First let me say this before I ask this question. And I say this because I've also worked with a lot of survivors as well. When people try to tell you to get over it or it was a long time ago, no, I mean, there's no way I don't think there's even a way you can move past it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't forget it. You can't move past it. Quit telling people that. This is just me and my public service stuff. Stop telling people that. But my question for you is, what do you do for people who tell you that?
I say it's like grief. When someone passes, you don't just get over it. If it's someone that was close to you, someone that you love, you don't just get over it. And a week, 2 months, a year, a decade later, you may not cry every day anymore, but you still feel it. This is just like that. So I can sit here and talk about it and not shed a tear today because it's been years and I've grown through it. I haven't gotten over it. I've grown through it. So I've learned how to deal with my emotions with regards to it. But like grief, you can't tell somebody to get over it. It's that no, it's not something that you get over it. It doesn't go away. It's just there. You grow through it, but you can't get over it.
Now, see, my whole thing is, so now you have your organization, you have everything. How do you, well, how do you protect the people with that you counsel? What services do you provide for people who, or that are in trouble with?
So we do multiple things. So one thing that we do is provide awareness. And so we go to different organizations, schools, businesses, and provide literature, do talks, or show. We have, what do you call it? Not an infomercial, good Lord. We have a documentary that we show to educate people about sexual assault. So we do that. That's the education and awareness. And then the other thing that we do with actual survivors is connect them to resources that they may need. So, okay, this happened. If you need to get out of the home immediately, we send help for you. If you need to learn how to, I had a family that needed to learn how to communicate with each other after it happened, because there was lack of trust there. We counsel them, and we put them in touch with licensed professional counselors if that's what they need. We offer, we used to offer a 1-800 like hotline. That's kind of fizzled out, but it's still there if anyone needs it. Hotline is for you to call if you have questions about sexual assault, questions about resources in your area. We get you linked up to those. If you need someone to go with you, let's say to the ER or something, if you've been recently accosted and you don't want to go along, you want to be with somebody that you trust and feel protected, we do that as well.
Okay. This question, kind of, not sure if you dealt with this or not, but how do you deal with law enforcement when they're not? Because I know, like I say, I know a few survivors. A lot of times they'll deal with law enforcement that's not very sympathetic, as to, depending upon the situation. How do you deal with that?
If the survivor wants, we'll be there with them while they talk to law enforcement, while they give their statement, or not testimony, while they give their statement. It's just the presence of having someone there who is empathetic, who's been there to make you feel more comfortable while you're going through the process. So it's just about the being there and being empathetic and being that comfort for them while they're going through that process. And then also telling them, advising them beforehand what that process is going to be like. Because if you don't know to expect all these people asking you the same question, just a different way over and over again, because they're trying to see if you're lying, you want to be prepared as best you can for something like that, because it's a traumatic experience all the way around.
I'm going to say, I tell people all the time, you can kind of use foul language on my show, and please forgive me for this, but every once in a while you get that asshole that will ask you a bunch of questions like either A, you waste his time, or B, well, look at what you're wearing, look at how you carry yourself, look at this, look at that. So he's asking questions where, okay, next, you know,
Right.
yeah, so I'm glad that there's somebody there and I'm almost certain that person's not above going off of that officer,
Right.
or that one official who's asking you questions, for the victim, which is great. I love that. So I know as a mother and as a survivor, you protect your kids very, so much, and I commend you for that. So how do you armor your kids up with?
So my children are teenagers now, but my organization has been in existence for 9 years. It'll be 10 years come this April. So my children have grown up watching me give these talks, watching me on television, reading me in magazines, seeing me talk about this over and over again. So they know, my children know the signs. Anything that I can teach other people, whatever I've taught other people about awareness and knowing the signs and what to do if you've been assaulted or whatever, my children know. It's instilled in them. It's like just drilled in their head. They can just spit it out verbatim what I would say. So they know, they get it because they grew up around it. And I talk to my children. And that's one of the things that we try to impress upon other people, is that you have to talk to your children, not at them. You don't talk at them. You have to talk with them. And then you have to pay attention to what it is that they're not saying. You got to know your kids, know your children's habits, know your children's demeanor, their behaviors, their patterns, know your kids. When my children walk in, if something is wrong, I know it immediately because I know them. I don't even have to ask a question. I already know, okay, something's not right. And so I'll ask some questions and judging by their answers, I'll know if they're giving me some BS or they're telling the truth. But because I talk to them and talk with them, I think that they feel comfortable talking to me about whatever, about anything, because they know that I'm going to listen. And if somebody needs to be handled, I'm going to handle that. They know that. But they also know that if they did something, then I'm going to handle them too. But you have to have a relationship, open relationship with your children so that they can tell you when they are in danger. So they're not afraid of what your response is going to be. And that's the other thing I tell people, and not even just with children, but anybody. Say your friend comes to you and says, hey, Marcus from down the street raped me. Okay. You need to know when to talk and when to listen. And you need to know what not to say. So all of that about, well, what did you do? And all that, you need to know how not to come off judgmental, condescending. You need to know when to be quiet and when to listen. And then you also need to respect the person's autonomy. You don't say, okay, well, you need to do this. No. You say, what would you like to do? How can I help you? Because the truth of the matter is, not everybody is ready or wants to report. We would like for more reports to be made, but not everybody is ready, feels comfortable, or wants to report. And it's your body. That's your decision. And so it's not our place to make someone feel bad for that, make someone feel bad for not reporting, or make someone feel bad for when they report. Don't care if it's 20 years later, 2 years later, 2 hours later. When they're ready is when they're ready. But we don't get to decide for somebody else when they're ready, or say, well, since you didn't say it right when it happened, then it didn't happen. Or you must didn't care too much because you didn't say anything. That's not how you respond to that.
Whenever something comes on the news about someone who's been abused for years and the person is finally getting their due, I think this was around the time of Sandusky and the boys at the college, Pitt State. And we had this huge conversation. Conversation was basically like what you just said. Why did it take 20 years for them to say something? They must have liked it. This and that. I'm trying to explain to her, because she's single parent. She has one daughter. Well, my daughter will tell me if there was anything. I'm trying to explain to her that you don't know. Mm-hmm. In other words, she was all for more judging the victims than she are for the perpetrator. And, I was explaining scenarios to the point where you know, someone threatened her or threatened her with you or any of that, you know, if I, no, because I know my baby. Okay, well, I'm, you know, not, and I guess my whole thing is she and others spend a lot of time blaming the victim.
Mm-hmm.
So I really stopped having those conversations. But what is your opinion on the victim? Have you met a lot of victim blaming?
I have. And so when that whole thing was going on in that time period, I remember a conversation that was had on my Facebook page. I don't remember exactly what my post was, but it sparked um, a conversation dialogue between, you know, some of my followers or whatever. And one lady in particular was saying something similar. She said, well, if you waited that long to say something, then you might as well should have never said anything. If I'm not going to say anything right when it happened, then I'm just never going to come back and bring it up later and start ruining people's lives later, well, after the fact. And so, you know, then that sparked other people commenting or responding to her. And so my thought process on that whole thing is, like I said before, you don't get to tell somebody when they should and when they should not report. It's about what they feel comfortable with doing because of how they feel. It's not about you. It's about how they feel and what's right for them. And we don't know what the circumstances were or are surrounding people's decisions to report. There can be other things going on. There can be some kind of economical reason why they're not saying, psychological reason why they're not saying. There can be some kind of fear behind the consequences of what may happen if they do say something. Like there are lots of things that people have to consider when they are deciding whether they are going to report. It's not always easy breezy. It's not always cut and dry and black and white and simple. There are other things. We don't know if they felt threatened, if they felt threatened with their life, if they felt threatened with their career, their livelihood. You don't know if they felt threatened with regards to the people that they love and what could happen to them, and how the scandal, if you will, could potentially affect other people that they love, other people that they care about, opportunities that they are hoping to have. You just never know. So many different things that you could think about with regards to um, what happens after you make the report.
Right. And thank God, and see, thank God. See, and this is something I wish upon no one, but it's just, it just bothers me when I just know people are blaming the victims, or like you just said, you know, you must like it or whatever. You don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna move on from that because I can talk about that all day. I'm sorry.
I just want to say one more thing about that, and then we can move on. And that excuse me, that is the other thing. Why would I say something if everybody's gonna have that attitude or response? If everybody's going to be beating me up because I did say something, why would I say something? Why would I feel comfortable saying something if I know that I'm not going to get the support that I need?
Why would I come to you in the first place? All you're gonna do is judge
Right.
me.
Save
But
myself additional trauma.
right, so I might as well just not say nothing and just, you see what I'm saying? So no, so I mean I'm glad I'm talking to somebody who gets it. I mean that's cool. So my next question is kind of perfect. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But how did it affected your personal relationships?
Okay, so going back to that trusting, I don't trust people. And that just is what it is. So anyone who is close to me, know that I thought of every reason not to trust you and not to like you. So God's on your side there. But I was married for 10 years to my children's dad, and I know that being married to me comes with its own unique challenges. And one of those challenges would be the fact that I can be insecure in some ways because of what happened to me through being abused. And you know, there were times when I felt bad for my husband because he had to deal with that, but deal with it, he did. And that is not the reason why we are divorced, but I think that it played a role in how we communicated and how our relationship went based off of how I felt like about myself and how I felt about him or other people because of that expectation that you're going to hurt me because this is what I've been taught. I've been taught that the men in my life are going to hurt me because that's what I learned, that's what I experienced. So that's kind of a hard something to live with and deal with. I am remarried. And my spouse understands that, you know, about me. Not that my husband didn't, but my spouse understands that about me. And I like the fact that I'm able to talk about my past trauma and express myself without feeling, like you said, judged and without being made to feel like I need to get over it. Not that I use it or whatever as an excuse for anything I may do or say, but I have panic disorder or whatever. And so I think a lot of that comes from being, you know, abused and living in fear when I was younger. So, and those are things that anyone that's in any kind of relationship with me should understand is that, okay, there's a chance that you might find me balled up in a corner somewhere if I'm scared or if I'm frightened or if I'm overwhelmed, and here is why. So yeah, that's how it has affected my personal life.
Well, it's good that you have a best friend because, and I'm also going to say this as a PSA, it doesn't matter what you're going through. A, a good person in your life who's your best friend will ignore all of that. What the they'll look at that. Okay, just come here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm I don't care about none of that. You're my wife. You're my husband. Come on, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good that you have a good person in your life. And God has definitely blessed you with that because we all need someone in our lives that can understand. If they can understand that, then and I'm glad, and basically, I'm glad that you have someone that can also help you, not exactly heal per se, not exactly get over it, move past it, but can help you deal with the trauma.
Agreed.
So my next question for you is, how has this affected? I'm transitioning back to the writing. How does this affect any? This doesn't affect any events or anything that you do? How you travel or anything?
Only to the point where I would not travel to certain areas because of wanting to not be near my abuser. But here lately, that has been that choice has been taken from me because he decided and he got approved to move to an area that is relatively close to me. So this is why I say that no matter what I do, like I'm always reminded in some way, shape, or form. And so, and this is a recent occurrence that he was approved to move in an area that's relatively close to me, not next door or anything like that, but a couple of cities away. So it's and being that close, anything that I do in the Metro Atlanta area, it's public knowledge, and you can find me. So any event that I have now at this point, you could just in the city, you could just be there. So that's a concern. That concerns me. But my thing is, I'm not in victim mode, you know, I'm in survivor mode. And I know that you cannot hurt me anymore. And I don't want to allow I wouldn't want to allow anyone to have that kind of control over me to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go out and market myself. I'm not gonna handle my business because I'm afraid of what you might do or that you might pop up. Okay, pop up if you want to. I got these people that will handle you while I go on over here and sell these books.
So no, never, right, never give up your power and give it to someone else. Never.
Exactly.
That is so cool. That is so cool. So I'm gonna transition back to the writing. So actually, this was a question for actually both sides. Is there a website for either your writing or your program?
So I have my own website. It's just my name, KenniYork.com. I need to do better about making sure it's updated, like totally need to do better. So I'm gonna work on that. But the website is there. And the nonprofit organization has its own website, and it is the name of the organization. It's the Let Your Voice Be Heard Foundation.org.
Awesome, awesome. Can we? How can we get to know you as far as an author? How can we buy your books? How can we?
So through my website, my books are available. Some of my books are available through my website. Other of my books are available through Amazon, major book retailers like Books A Million, Walmart, um, I think Barnes and Noble, but don't quote me on that. So those major outlets, or online through, like I said, Amazon, or online with any of those book retailers. And yeah, you can catch me live and in person at book signings. My website will reflect upcoming signings. We have not posted yet, but there will be a 2022 book tour. I stopped touring in 2020 at the top of the year. I had a whole tour planned for the whole year, date set in different cities in different states, but because of COVID, we had to cancel the tour after the first quarter of the year. So we're trying to go back now and pick up all of those locations that we had to cancel in 2020 and put them on the 2022 tour. But the schedule will be posted by the end of the year this year, so that everyone will know what to expect in 2022.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to play a quick game with you before we wrap this up. Out of all your 30 children, who's your favorite character?
My favorite character is Mickey.
And from which book? Tell me a little bit about it.
Mickey is from the Karma series, and she's my favorite character because she's probably my alter ego. Because Mickey is excuse my language, but Mickey is a badass. Like, she says what she wants, she does what she wants, like the things that we would think and not necessarily say out loud. She
Right.
just, you know what I'm saying, you only live once. She just says it. And she's just her personality. She's such a firecracker, and she's that character that you want to empathize with her, because her story is just like, so like, oh dang girl, they did you wrong. But then the things that she does, she's so spiteful and petty and just so hell-bent on revenge. It's just like, girl, why you do that? But you love her, but you're like, nah, you scared for her, you feel for her. She's such a dynamic character though.
Bonus question, really quick. How do you come up with your characters? I'm a character person.
I don't come up with them. They come to me. I mind my own business. They come to me. They just drop in my head. I'm like, dang, okay. And I write it. They just come to me. You know what I'm saying? There are some, now every now and again, I model a character after someone that I know, like my book, my series, The Girls. I told you that's a book about me and some of my friends and people that I know. So those characters are all based off of those people or whatever. But then other times I may loosely base a character off of somebody that I know, or somebody I've seen, or someone I've been associated with. But more often than not, they just come to me, drop in my head.
For the most part, you're one of them. I'm gonna play with one of them because I'm one of them. You're one of those people, or your characters are, can I say, only okay. The only grown people allowed to have imaginary friends are authors, fiction authors. So they're your imaginary friends. Yeah, because that's how I think. That's my character. My characters choose me as well. So when you said that, I felt that.
Yeah. Yeah. And they talk to me. Like case in point. When part 5 of Karma series was finished, before it was released last week, I had already said years ago, I said I was done with part 4, but everybody kept saying, no, there's a part 5. And Mickey was talking to me. I'm like, okay, girl, I'm gonna tell this story. So after part 5 was done, I'm saying to myself again, okay, I'm done with you. I've told your story. There's nothing left here. And I'd be damn if I didn't hear her say one line. And I was like, oh no, it's a
See? My point exactly. Go ahead.
heard her loud and clear. I was like, oh God, no, I thought I was done with you. What else could you possibly do? And she was like, oh girl, you just don't know.
People at home don't know. A lot of us, and she's one of them, your characters really tell your story. You can outline it all day, but if your characters tell you to go left, you better go left. Yeah. Because your story not gonna go right unless you go where they want you to go.
Exactly, because they know what they want to do. They already know what they want to do. Your job is to just pin it. They've already come up with this is who I am and this is what's gonna happen. And you just need to write it down.
Yeah, I love that. So this is the part of the show now where I always give my authors the final word. You can give shout outs, you can give inspiration, you can say whatever you want to. The floor is yours.
Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna say whatever pops in my brain and on my heart. And the first thing that I want to say to anyone who is watching, if you have a story to tell, and we all have a story to tell, we may not all be storytellers, but we all have a story to tell, that there's never a such thing as too late to get your story out there. It's only too late when you're dead. So tell your story when you're ready. When you're ready in your time, tell your story. And that's whether it is you're trying to write a book or if you just have a testimony that you feel like you need to share. When you're ready, you will tell your story. That's it.
Coming soon, the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, reintroducing you to a special agent, Sergeant Wise Guy, the government's top strategics and agent with a very sarcastic tongue. A former ranger, he heads up a team of specialists taking care of missions too big or too messy or other agents don't want to handle. His first mission takes him to Paris, where a stolen Cold War nuclear warhead was discovered. While discovering the warhead's origin, a lost dead love resurfaces. Can Sergeant Wise Guy resolve both before the secret plans for the warhead is complete? Well, check out the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, coming soon. By Late Murder at 10 by H.D. Campbell. Former investigative reporter Mark Alexander thought his life hit a slump when a mass shooting results in the murder of a controversial news anchor. Can Mark get out of his head long enough to crack this case? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to get your own copy of Late Murder at 10 on Amazon.com and coming soon to your favorite bookstore.
Instead of a 2-cent segment today, I want to talk about changes within H.D. Campbell production structure, HC Television, hard drive publishing. We're growing. There's going to be a whole plethora of new shows. There's going to be a whole plethora of new books. I got books coming out. We're going non-stop. You see my phone is blowing up now. We're going non-stop with so many things going on. I mean, I've got new blogs. I mean, stay tuned for my new blog coming up. Actually, after this episode, go to my website at hdcampbellmedia.com. And you get to my gripe series where I'm going to talk about what gripes me at the end of the week. I actually owe you 2 weeks of it, but you're going to get 2 weeks of it here. Actually, right now, you're going to get them right now. So, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more promos from our authors. Stay tuned for a bigger presence in the next coming weeks. So that's it. That's the Author's Corner. Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel. If you have anything to say, please leave a comment. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. And when I'm saying that, I really mean that. Your writing is your spirit. So let your writing fuel your spirit. And God bless you always.